Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our City Council meeting. My name is Manny Servin. I am a Bordertown citizen and journalist. Our purpose today is to discuss the effects of Trump's proposed border wall with experts on different points of view. Joining us for the panel today, we have Donaji Diaz. She is an environmentalist and civil rights activist. Paulina Covarrubias, she is a criminal psychologist. Nicholas Wright, he is a law professor, expert on immigration and citizenship law. And Jose Rosas, he is a Texas state citizen. For our panel today, there will be no interruptions during the 15 minutes. I will ask each panelist 3 questions, and they will each have 1 minute to answer each one of them. At the end, we'll have a Q&A session ranging from 3 to 5 minutes. So the first question is for each panelist. Donaji, what is your stance on the border wall?
Hello, my name is Donaji. I'm an environmentalist and civil rights activist here in the Valley. I am against the construction of the border wall because of the excessive cost to build, and there are better things that we could be putting our money into. The wall would also be difficult to construct because we would need to get the rights to the land at the border, and not to mention the havoc that it would cause to our environment.
Thank you. Paulina, same question. What is your stance on the border wall?
Hello, my name is Paulina. I'm a criminal psychologist, and I am against the building of the border wall because I do feel it's really unnecessary. There is already a fence along the border wall, which is as effective as it can get. There are a lot of other ways for immigrants to come into the country, as an example is visa overstays, and I do not believe that the border wall is the only way for immigrants to come and for drugs to come into the country and other illegal goods. I do think that the cost for the border wall is really unrealistic. The budget that Trump has in mind is not even going to come close to what it would end up costing in reality. And I do think that because the U.S. is already in debt, though that money could be accommodated in other places.
Thank you. Nicholas, what is your stance on the border wall?
Hi, I'm Nicholas Wright, and I'm a professor and expert in immigration systems law. I am for the border wall, as it would create a stronger national border, more secure. It would stop an influx of illegal immigrants that we see every year grow, and it would create a lot of jobs in the areas near its construction, which all of that together would be both fiscally responsible and necessary for America as a whole.
Thank you. Jose, what is your stance on the border wall?
Hello, my name is Jose. I am a Texas citizen from the Valley. I am neutral about the construction of the border wall because even though it will hurt the economy financially, it will also benefit it by bringing in new jobs for those who are unemployed. Also, the construction of the border wall will not affect my everyday life in any kind of way. So therefore, to me, the construction of it wouldn't matter if it was done or not.
Thank you. The next question is for Donaji. How much will this border wall cost?
Well, there are many discrepancies between the price of constructing the border wall. According to President Trump, he proposed that the border wall would cost $12 billion, but then House Speaker Paul Ryan has estimated it to be $15 billion. And the Department of Homeland Security has estimated it to be $22 billion, while the Senate Democrats have reported it to be $70 billion. So it would be anywhere between $12 billion and $70 billion. What that doesn't include is the cost to obtain the land where the wall is proposed to be built. There would be many legal fees that would increase the price dramatically. And there is no definite price, but it's guaranteed to cost more than what Trump has proposed.
Thank you. The next question is for Paulina. Will the building of this wall affect the coyotes in any type of way?
Well, eventually, if it does make it harder, it may decrease the amount of immigrants coming into the country. But it is, just in fact for the mere assumption that it's going to only get harder when the wall is built to get people across the border, this is just giving coyotes the opportunity to pass more people, because this is gonna push, this fear will push just people to cross before the border gets to be built. So in fact, it's increasing the profits for the coyotes and it's booming that type of business. According to an immigrant interviewed by the New York Times, the fees cannot go to $15,000, and this is just for some people, and many may think that a lot of people could not get to pay those prices, but we're talking about people that would do anything and risk anything to get their families to a better place.
Thank you. The next question is for Nicholas. Do you think the creation of this wall is fiscally responsible?
I do believe the creation of the border wall is fiscally responsible. Current estimates put the actual price of the wall at $7 billion, but with the current infrastructure around $45 billion. This may seem like a lot, but it is negligible when compared to the $113 billion that illegal immigration costs America every year. That number grows every year, every month. If we can put any amount of curb on this yearly cost to America, the wall will essentially pay for itself within 10 or 20 years. This isn't even to count the cost of the jobs that it would give to the people in the areas around it, or the taxes that it would give the U.S. government for its creation. So I think that the border wall's creation is not only financially responsible, it's fiscally necessary.
Thank you. The next question is for Jose. Will the border wall benefit or hurt the U.S. economy?
According to Immigration Impact, removing 11.3 million undocumented immigrants from the U.S. in just 2 years will increase gradually the number of immigration courts, detention beds, and federal attorneys. It will also reduce the labor force by 11.3 million and reduce the real GDP by $1 trillion. It will also affect farmers who rely on undocumented immigrants as workforce, and that will cause for them to pay higher labor costs, and also they could go through production disruptions, which will cause the price of meat, milk, and other foods to increase. But in another point of view, the construction of the border wall will also benefit the economy by giving jobs to those who are unemployed, and it will also reduce the number of illegal smuggling that happens during the border, and it will also help reduce the number of undocumented immigrants that cross every year.
We are going to go through the last round of questions. The first one is for Janaji. What are some of the effects that the border wall will have on the environment?
Okay, so the first part of Trump's border wall is set to go through Texas's wildlife refuge. So under the Illegal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996, it allows for border infrastructures to be built regardless of laws or legal requirements like environmental protections. This allows for the Department of Homeland Security to build this border wherever it wants, like at this wildlife refuge, which normally in other cases you wouldn't be able to, but because it's protected under this act, they are able to. So it is set to go through the Santa Ana National Wildlife Refuge, which is a 2,800-acre refuge located near McAllen, Texas, that contains over 400 species of birds, 2 endangered wildcats, and some of the last surviving sabal palm trees. The construction of this wall would deter animals from migrating and make plants go extinct, and that's why I am against the construction of the border wall.
The next question is for Paulina. Would you say the wall will effectively decrease or stop drug smuggling?
Well, it would definitely not stop drug smuggling. Drug smugglers have been using tunnels since El Chapo started this method in 1989. Drug tunnels have been discovered, and they can be as deep as 70 feet below the ground, and the new wall would only go as far as 6 feet below the ground. So it would be really ineffective as of stopping or blocking these tunnels. In fact, as today, there are 224 recorded tunnels, and there's no saying how many more there are. But in the recent years, drug smugglers had decided to to do the drug smuggling via the 52 legal ports in the United States. So what they do is they hide it in the cargo that comes through to the U.S. and that's the main way they do this. So in reality, the wall would not stop it because they're opting for a new way to smuggle these resources. So this is why I'm against.
Thank you. Nicholas, in what way would you say this wall is effective?
Well, large swaths of our border are still completely unwalled. Parts of the desert, parts of Arizona, parts of California, and it is shown that many thousands of immigrants do just cross there at great cost to themselves in some cases. It does result in over 1,000 deaths every year, some studies show. And drug smuggling is also prevalent across this area. So while exceptions may occur and some may find other methods, it is undeniable that the creation of a wall across these unwalled lands would reduce and stop a lot of illegal immigration and drug smuggling. It would not stop all of it, but it would put a serious damper on all of that activity. So I think the wall would be effective in its in its deterrent quality.
Thank you, Nicholas. Jose, how will the building of this wall affect your everyday life as a Texas citizen?
In my case, the building of the wall between U.S. and Mexico will not affect my everyday life in any way, but there are some cases in where people are affected positively or negatively by if the building of the wall was to be done. For example, there are people who travel from Mexico to U.S. in order to go to school or to work, and with the building of the wall, it will make it difficult for them to travel from one place to another. And there's also the positive, which there are people who will feel safer with the construction of the wall, who say that it will reduce the number of gang-related outbreaks or any shootouts, and they'll feel safer walking around the streets and not having to look out for every little thing like having to and feeling unsafe. And that is why I am neutral in the construction of the border wall.
Thank you. So in conclusion, Denaji is against the conclusion of the border wall because of the cost that this has and the effects on our environment. Paulina is also against this because it will not be effective in stopping drug smuggling. Nicholas is for the construction of the border wall because it will effectively reduce illegal immigrants. And last, Jose is neutral to this construction because his life will not be affected in any way. Thank you, panelists, and thank you, audience, for being here. We will now have a 3 to 5 minute Q&A, and I open the floor for questions. Are there any questions? Yes.
Do you actually think there's enough reasons to build this wall?
The question was, do you actually think there's enough reasons to build this wall, and it is for Paulina.
I definitely don't think there's enough reasons to justify the cost and the effects it's going to be having in surrounding communities and the environment. I don't think that there's not going to be enough stopping of drugs, or there's not going to be a big enough of a change to justify the cost of this wall. According to the Government Accountability Office, there's already a fence, as I said before, that is 651.7 miles long, and I just think that it's really unrealistic to want to turn this fence into a concrete wall. And besides, the patrol agents don't like this because they can't see through it, so they know what's going on the other side. And it's harder to have surveillance over the immigrants.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Yes.
How do you think the money could be better put to use?
The question was, how do you think the money could be better put to use, and it is for Denaji.
Well, for starters, we could restore Puerto Rico's power. Much of the island is still without power. It is estimated to cost $5 billion just to get power fully restored. Completely rebuilding the island's electrical grid is estimated to be $17.6 billion according to an industry working group, and that would help it in the future for a next Category 4 hurricane. It would help it for the power to stay on. You could also put this into education. According to the Atlantic, it would cost around $40 billion to make college free. You could put that money to use in universal health care or CHIP, which is estimated to save the U.S. $600 billion. Or we could also fix Flint's water crisis. And fixing Flint's water crisis, fixing all the pipes would cost less than $1 billion. those are a couple better uses for this money.
Thank you, Judge Ashley. Are there any more questions? Yes.
Do you think this will negatively impact the black market and/or drug industry?
The question was, do you think this wall will negatively impact the black market and/or drug industry? And then this for Nicholas.
I very much do. The wall, drugs and black market industries go across many different fields and mediums, but the unprotected parts of the border and people walking them across or driving them across still account for a lot of the black market's profits, as that is the cheapest, most effective method of transporting them. So a wall would put an end to a lot of that, which would in turn make them turn to more expensive or less effective methods, which hurts their bottom line. When you come down to a black market, it's still a market, and they're trying to make a profit. So if you can hurt their profit, you hurt their entire industry, and you hurt the people that are trying to sell drugs into our nation.
Thank you, Nicholas. So this concludes our panel for the day. Thank you so much, panelists and audience, for being here, and everyone.